Hey guys, welcome to Flip and Customize. Here we are in the shop, busy shop lately. What we've got today, and we don't usually work on a ton of bikes, but a fair amount. And lately I have a ton of bikes in here. But what we have today is a customer's O2 Sportster that we're gonna be taking off this stock bars. I don't do a ton of Harley work, so forgive me for that, Harley guys, but I do appreciate them and I do like them. So we're gonna be swapping these bars out to a set of Ape hangers, customer supplied Ape hangers that are approximately 12 inches long, in height, I should say. And we got a Burley Brand kit to extend all the cables and electronics properly. And at the same time, we're gonna try to do a drop on the mirrors depending on how that all works out. We'll kind of just take you through the basics of this install as well. Let me show you what we got. Here we go. These are the bars here, just a nice set of chrome Ape hangers, and they actually are set up for the hidden cables. So the customer's okay with running them on the outside, which is the way they are on the factory, but if we can get them snuck inside and clean the look of this a little bit at the same time, we're gonna go ahead and do that as well for them. And this is the kit itself, Burley Brand. First time I used their stuff, and so far, well, the packaging is awesome. And the quality of the product itself, we got the electronic, all the cable extensions for the wires, individual wires, including heat shrinks, which is awesome. So obviously some instructions there, some more wiring. We have the extended length brake line, clutch, and the push-pull throttle as well. So that is pretty cool. That should be everything we need. And this is their black kit. They do make a stainless, braided stainless kit. There's different levels of these kits. So this would be more of an entry level and it's black, but it goes with the black on the bike. And that's what the customer wanted. So basically, again, just for memory's sake, I go ahead and take before photos of where the cable routing and everything is from the factory. So you have an idea where things were, because you know, as soon as you take things off, it's like, oh, well, where did that go? So it's a good reference point. But we'll go ahead and we're gonna start stripping off the bike. And I always protect the tank, so lay something, nice piece of padding or remove the tank, either one, whatever you gotta do, just be careful of the tank. Excuse me. So, and then we're gonna go ahead and get things stripped off and we'll do the wiring first on the bars. I'll kind of show you that. We'll do that basically over here on the bench. All right guys, another thing worth mentioning is this bike doesn't have a battery in it, but one thing you wanna do before you get into, especially a customer's bike, you get into taking apart handlebars and controls, verify everything's working all right. And I've already talked to the customer, his throttle's sticking a little bit. The new cables, and actually I forgot to mention he has new grips we're putting on as well. We'll probably take care of that. But the other thing you want to do, and again, this doesn't have a battery in it, so I just use one of my batteries to kind of jump it. And all we want to do is check out the electronics. You want to make sure your high beam, low beam works, your blinkers work, your horn works, your start switch works, all of the above. So, and they all do. So that's a good thing. So everything seems to work electronically. You're basically just giving it a once over before you go ahead and get this torn apart or anything like that. Just to, hey, it worked before, or this worked, that didn't work, or so there's no arguing. But what we'll do is we're gonna get this this cover plate off the risers. Take some of this chrome off so we can get to the wiring and just start stripping it down. Nothing fancy, nothing high tech. All right, guys, for some reason I was thinking all the wiring was tucked up in here, but it looks like at least the blinker wiring and stuff goes under the tank. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to pop this seat and tank off to get to them. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that stuff off so we can get back on track. All right, guys, another thing I did, now that we've got everything stripped down off the bike, the old bars are off, I just kind of set the new bars on here and just barely snugged them on there. So you get an idea for your cable length. And then I just fit up and make sure the cables that we got are in fact going to be long enough and run up to like the clutch and then the throttle. And then the wires, well, we already know those are going to be extended. So I think we're good. We did some preliminary on this one, a little bit of homework. So I think we're good on this one. But it's always a good idea to double check this stuff before you start extending wires and heat shrink up and all that. All right, one other thing that you can see as I'm extending the wires for the controls for the bars right now is we heat shrink each one individually, and then we put them together and we throw a larger heat shrink over all of that. That all comes in the kit because it is plug and play. The only thing I will say is because it is plug and play and all these connectors end up lining up in the same spot, if you're gonna run them through the bars, that can get challenging. These bars not so bad because they are swept. It's not so bad to get them through, but on something with a sharper bend, it could really suck. So if I was just cutting ends and soldering wires on, I would stagger them for sure. There's a little tip as far as that goes. But on a kit like this, they all end up in the same place. But like I said, it'll be fine for this application. All right, we got one side run through, and they suck, as you can imagine, running your wires through, but it is through, and this side's extended, and I just went over to the bike and made sure that they will reach the connector in the risers, and they will. So now we got to move on and get the throttle side done. All right, guys, we got the electrical all run through, and a good thing to do before you go ahead and button anything up or hide any wires is go ahead and check all your lights and your horn and everything else and make sure it's all working, because down the road you don't want to find it after everything's all buttoned up. But we got the bars roughed in here and the electrical all run through the bars, and it is definitely tight. I'm not gonna lie, it's not super easy, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap the electrical up. Then it's just cable work. All right, update. We got the airbox off so we can get access to the cables. We're actually gonna be replacing this fuel line at the same time because it's pretty dry rotted. We're gonna pop these factory cables out of there. They're basically just routed through the triple tree, which is super simple. And they go back up to here. So we'll be taking the factory ones out and replacing with the longer throttle cables. Just make note to the routing and how they are set up so they go in the same way. All right, another thing too, on one of the cables there's a little spring, and that actually goes on the cable on the left side of the bike. So make sure that that cable, the new one that you're putting in, is in fact going in that position. All right, throttle is all in and routed. That would be the tightest they would be right there. Beyond that, shouldn't be any problems, but we'll know better when we get everything, whether we had to change routing or anything like that. We'll do the clutch cable next. Got to remove this cover and this clamp here. All right, here's your clutch cable, the factory one. It threads here. Pull this off, unscrew your adjuster, pull this mechanism out of here, and then this pops off your cable. Put the new cable in, put the mechanism back in, the adjuster, and then you're gonna adjust it out until resistance is felt, screwed all the way in the adjuster, until resistance is felt, and then back it off quarter turn. All right, go ahead and torque this about 60 inch-pounds, a new cable, adjust your clutch, like I said, back it until you get resistance, and then back it off a quarter turn, put your O-ring back on, and your cover back on. All right, got the riser plate back on, speedometer back in, the bars mounted up, the tank set on there. We'll go ahead and doing the relocation of the mirrors, so drop mirrors, and then adjust things and button this thing up. On this Sportster, the Ape Hanger kit in the Burley Brand, cables and wiring extensions, got everything routed, everything's all buttoned back up. So the customer wanted the mirrors instead of up here drop down on the bottom. In order to do that, they have a special little bracket they use on one side. I don't have one of those brackets, so I had to fabricate one. It's drying right now. Then we can go ahead and button this side up, and we're bleeding the brakes out, wipe this thing down, and she's done. All right, guys, there you have it. We got the set of Ape hangers all installed on the O2 Sportster. The Burley Brand wiring and cable kit all installed and wiring extended, as well as run through the bars themselves. We did the mirror drop, so we reversed them and put them under here, and had to actually make a bracket for one side in order to get that to work. Replaced his grips for him, a few other little things that was in here, battery, fuel line, and some other stuff. But all in all, Good project, came out well. It was a lot more involved and took longer than I had thought. Again, I'm not a super Harley tech, but kind of surprised. But you know what? It's okay, because it looks awesome, came out awesome, customer's gonna be happy, we're happy. If you like today's episode, please hit subscribe and that bell. Flip and customize. Thanks, guys.